I'm standing here tucked away in the shadows near the Grand Meridian Hotel's ballroom entrance. It's Olivia's engagement party, my sister. And no, I wasn't formally invited. Not really. It doesn't matter that I came back, that I've spent months, actual calculated months, trying to fix things between us. The invitation never arrived. The light from the crystal chandeliers, those massive glittering things, is bouncing off everyone's faces. Faces I remember. The same ones who practically spat on me when everything went to hell in my last life. Now, now they're all laughing. Champagne flutes held high, like nothing ever happened. Like I never happened. My fingers are shaking just a little as they grip my clutch. It's a designer bag, expensive, meant to show I belong. But then I see her, Olivia, in that perfect ivory dress. And the emerald necklace I gave her? The one I picked out so carefully, thinking it would mean something? It's not there. Her neck is bare, except for some delicate gold chain I don't recognize. Just as I'm about to try and blend into a velvet curtain, a waiter spots me. His eyes narrow. "Invitation, madam?" he asks, his voice smooth but firm. The air is thick with the smell of truffles and some cloyingly sweet perfume, the kind that screams money. It's suffocating. I don't even try to argue with the waiter. What's the point? I just nod, turn, and walk towards the hotel bar. The click of my heels on the polished marble floor sounds too loud in the sudden quiet of my own thoughts. "Whiskey," I tell the bartender. "Neat." As he pours, I unlock my phone. My assistant, bless her efficient heart, forwarded it earlier. A screenshot. Olivia's group chat. The words are burned into my brain. "Make sure Caroline doesn't find out about tonight. We don't need her mess of a life bringing down my special day." Again. Again, like I'm some recurring natural disaster. The ice cubes in my glass clink together as my hand tightens around it. Last time, this kind of thing, this deliberate, cruel exclusion, it broke me. Sent me spiraling down into that black hole I almost didn't climb out of. Across the bar, I see Mia, my former best friend, the one who was there for every betrayal in this life and the last. Her laugh, that bright, tinkling sound that used to make me smile, now grates on my nerves. She's showing someone her phone, probably the invitation. My non-invitation. The bartender slides a napkin towards me. "You look like you could use another, Miss Blackwood," he says, his voice kind. He has no idea. No idea that the Miss Blackwood who owns 15% of this hotel chain is standing right in front of him, about to order that second drink. I finish the whiskey in one long swallow. The burn is good. It clears my head. I dial my lawyer as I walk out of the bar, through the opulent, almost vulgar lobby. The marble feels cool, almost cold, under my heels. This isn't just about shares anymore. I've been planning this for months, ever since I knew, really knew, that nothing had changed with them. Complete ownership, that's the goal. The Grand Meridian Hotel, mine. "Robert," I say when he answers, my voice even, calm. "It's Caroline. Yes, I'm sure. Finalize the offer, now." Then, I call my assistant. "Sarah, execute plan lockout." The words feel heavy, solid, like the weight of my reborn identity finally settling into my bones. I'm not that desperate, approval-seeking girl anymore. They killed her. In this very hotel, no less. Memories flash, unbidden. Olivia's first engagement party. The humiliation, the looks, the whispers. The pills I swallowed later that night in a suite upstairs, the darkness. And then, waking up, 10 years earlier, with every single memory, every mistake, every betrayal, crystal clear. I pause at the foot of the grand staircase, the one that sweeps up to the more expensive suites. My reflection stares back at me from a huge, gilt-edged mirror. I look the same. Same face, same hair. But my eyes, they're different. There's a calmness there, a chilling sort of vengeance that wasn't there before. If they could see it, really see it, it would terrify them. They have no idea what's coming. They have no idea who I am now. Back in my penthouse, the city lights twinkling through the floor-to-ceiling windows like scattered diamonds, I feel a sense of calm I haven't felt in, well, in 2 lifetimes. I open the dossiers. Thick files, one for each of them. Olivia, my ever-jealous sister who couldn't stand for me to have anything she didn't. James, my ex-fiancé, the man who swore he loved me, then left me for her. For Olivia, the moment things got tough. Mia, my childhood best friend who spread the rumors, twisted the truth, and watched me burn with a smile. And my father, the man who chose to believe them all, his own daughter thrown to the wolves without a second thought. I pour myself a glass of wine, a rare vintage, the same one they served at my funeral, the funeral they barely bothered to attend. The irony isn't lost on me. My phone pings, a simple message. Offer accepted. Congratulations, Miss Blackwood. The board couldn't refuse. Triple market value, an offer designed to be irresistible. The Grand Meridian is mine. I open my laptop, a new email to the current hotel manager. Short, to the point. Effective immediately, cancel all events scheduled for the next month, all of them. Refunds are unnecessary. I'll handle the fallout personally. I hit send. The first move is made. Let the games begin. The next morning, Olivia doesn't just walk into my office, she storms in. The sunlight streaming through the panoramic windows catches the tear tracks on her flushed face. Good. Let her cry. What the hell, Caroline? She demands, her voice shrill. My engagement party. Canceled. Just like that. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is? I lean back in my leather chair, keeping my expression neutral. Business decision, Olivia, I say, my voice cool. I notice she's wearing the emerald necklace today, the one she couldn't be bothered with last night. Now it's strategically visible, nestled just below the collar of her silk scarf. How predictable. The air in my office smells of fresh lilies, her favorite. I used to bring them to her every week back in my first life. A pathetic attempt to buy her affection, her approval, all while she was systematically dismantling my life piece by piece. She paces back and forth in front of my desk, her expensive heels clicking impatiently on the polished oak floor. Her legs are trembling. My special night, Caroline, ruined. All those people, my caterers, the florist. She recounts every inconvenience, every perceived slight to her perfect plans. Not once does she ask how I am. Not once does she even mention the fact that I wasn't on her precious guest list. Her phone chimes, a message. I catch a glimpse of the screen before she snatches it away. James, of course, the man who once whispered promises of forever in my ear, then tossed them aside the moment Olivia batted her eyelashes and spun her web of lies about my instability. Some things, it seems, never change. Mia doesn't have the guts to show up in person. She calls. Her voice is syrupy sweet, dripping with false concern. Caroline, darling, I just heard about Olivia's party. How awful. What on earth happened? She's fishing, of course, looking for information, ammunition, something she can twist and use later. I hold the phone a few inches from my ear, idly examining my perfectly manicured nails. She rambles on, her voice a low hum in the background. I remember, with a chilling clarity, finding my private therapy journals, the ones Mia leaked to our entire social circle. Just worried about you, sweetie, she'd said, her eyes wide with feigned innocence. Worried I'd expose her own miserable little secrets, more like. The soft ticking of my designer watch on the desk seems to punctuate her nervous chatter. It's a Patek Philippe, a reminder of how far I've come. She needs me now, whether she realizes the full extent of it or not. Her little fashion boutique, the one she's so proud of, the lease is up for renewal next month. And the building it's in? I bought it, quietly, last month. How strange we haven't caught up properly, Mia, I interrupt, my voice smooth as silk. Especially since you've been to every event I've somehow missed being invited to. The line goes silent. All I can hear is her shallow, caught-out breathing. Checkmate. James. He shows up at my penthouse that evening. The doorman, already well-instructed, lets him up. It's raining. Fat, heavy drops that splatter against the windows. He looks rumpled. Raindrops glisten in his dark hair. He's still handsome, I suppose, in that classic, slightly brooding way that once made my heart ache. And he's wearing that cologne. The one I bought him. The one that still, after all this time, brings back a flood of unwanted memories. Intimacy, laughter, lies. He presses his palm against my doorframe, a casual, confident gesture, blocking my attempt to close the door. His eyes, those deep brown eyes that once held such persuasive intensity, lock onto mine. The same look that made me trust him, implicitly, stupidly. "Caroline, be reasonable," he pleads, his voice low, urgent. "Olivia is devastated, absolutely devastated. You have to reinstate the venue." He talks about Olivia, her devastation, her feelings. Not a word about me. Not a word about how they devastated me, their affair, in this life, in the last. It's always about Olivia's needs. The rain outside intensifies, drumming a relentless rhythm against the glass. He's still talking, repeating the same tired, hollow explanations he used 5 years ago and 10 years before that in my previous life. Olivia needed me. "You were always so independent, Caroline. We never meant to hurt you." The words are like ghosts, echoing from a past I'm determined to bury. I watch him, his performance. It's quite good, really. He almost sounds sincere. But I feel nothing. Just a cold, clinical interest. I notice the wedding band, already on his finger. The wedding hasn't even happened yet. They're rushing, just like last time. Rushing to legitimize what began as a sordid, backstabbing betrayal. Pathetic. My father doesn't call, he doesn't visit. That's not his style. Instead, he sends his executive assistant, a nervous young man named Arthur, clutching a sheaf of formal-looking paperwork. A request that I reconsider the hotel cancellation for family harmony. I'm in my kitchen, the sleek white marble counter cool beneath my fingertips. I scan the documents, legal jargon, veiled threats. The usual, I remember. I remember him taking Olivia's side, instantly, without question. When she whispered her poison, her claims that I was unstable, dangerous, a liability, his own daughter. Arthur shifts uncomfortably from one foot to the other. "Mr. Blackwood is concerned, Miss Blackwood, about appearances, with so many of his business associates invited to the celebration. Appearances, always appearances. The Blackwood name, the family reputation, more important than his own child's sanity, more important than the truth." Sunlight streams through the kitchen window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. I take the documents from Arthur. Calmly, deliberately, I tear them in half. Then again, and again, until they're nothing but a pile of expensive confetti. I hold the pieces out to the startled assistant. "Tell him," I say, my voice quiet but firm, "that I received his concerns, and they've been processed accordingly." The door clicks shut behind Arthur. I stand there for a long moment, motionless. The phantom weight of the pills I swallowed in my last life presses down on me. He was too busy then. Too busy damage-controlling Olivia's narrative. Too busy worrying about appearances to even check if I was still breathing. "Well, Father, I'm breathing now, and you're about to find out just how concerned I can be." Another week, another calculated snub. This time, it's the annual Whitmore Foundation Gala, the save the date email I discover through back channels, thank you, Sarah, landed in everyone's inbox. Everyone except mine. I've been a silent, significant donor to the Whitmore since my rebirth, a fact they conveniently overlook. It's not the exclusion itself that makes the familiar acid rise in my throat. It's Olivia. She's on the gala committee this year, her little power trip, ensuring, once again, that Caroline Blackwood remains a ghost in their glittering world, invisible, unwanted. My office window frames a perfect autumn scene, trees ablaze in gold and crimson. Beautiful, cold. I forward the evidence, the chain of forwarded emails confirming my omission, to Sarah. "Proceed," I type. My outwardly gracious demeanor, the one I've carefully cultivated, remains intact. Let them think I'm oblivious. Or worse, that I'm still that broken girl, desperate for their crumbs of affection. Later, at a charity luncheon, one I was invited to, probably because Olivia wasn't involved, I smile warmly. At the very committee members who signed off on my gala exclusion. Mrs. Henderson, Mr. Albright. They squirm, they avoid my gaze. They talk about the weather, the canapes, anything but the upcoming gala. The clinking of silverware against fine china is the only soundtrack to their stilted, awkward conversation. It's almost amusing, almost. A few days later, at a business mixer, a rather pushy columnist from some society rag corners me. "Caroline, darling," she gushes, her smile a little too wide, her eyes a little too sharp. "We've barely seen you out and about lately. Any reason you're keeping such a low profile?" I give a light, dismissive shrug. "Just busy, Amelia. Work, you know." I expertly redirect the conversation to my recent philanthropic initiatives. The new children's wing I'm funding at City General, the arts scholarship I've endowed. Let her print that. I send Olivia an early wedding gift. Extravagant, obscene even. A set of vintage diamond earrings I know she's coveted for years. The handwritten note is a masterpiece of feigned sincerity. "Dearest Olivia, wishing you and James a lifetime of happiness. So thrilled for you both. With love, Caroline." She'll read it as desperation, a pathetic attempt at reconciliation. Good, let her. Then there's my father's corporate anniversary dinner, a lavish affair at some stuffy downtown club. I'm there, of course, impeccably dressed, smiling. I raise my glass in a toast to his success. "To Dad," I say, my voice ringing with what I hope sounds like genuine admiration. He barely glances my way, a curt nod, his only acknowledgement. The champagne tastes bitter on my tongue. Mia finds me by the dessert table. Her voice is a low, conspiratorial whisper. "People are talking, Caroline," she says, her eyes, those snake-like eyes, searching mine for any crack, any fissure in my composure. "They're saying you're acting strangely." The scent of her signature gardenia perfume, the one she's worn since high school, suddenly turns my stomach. "Am I, Mia?" I ask, my smile unwavering. How fascinating. Midnight, my home office. The city outside is a glittering carpet of lights, but in here, the only glow comes from the bank of monitors on my desk. Blue light washes over my face as I execute the transfers, anonymous, untraceable. Through a shell corporation I set up months ago, specifically for this purpose. The venue for the Whitmore Gala, the historic Ashton Hall, is now mine. Or rather, it belongs to a company that belongs to a company that belongs to me. Next, I draft an email to the Whitmore Foundation Board. Anonymous, of course, attaching the meticulously compiled documentation. Olivia's creative accounting, small amounts siphoned off from previous fundraisers. Nothing they'll prosecute her for. She's too well connected for that. But enough. Enough to tarnish her shiny reputation. Enough for them to quietly, very quietly, ask her to step down from the committee. Effective immediately, 3 decisive keystrokes. Done. The purchase of James's struggling architectural firm's debt is complete. I am now his unknown, unseen creditor. I hold the power to call in his loans. At my discretion. Whenever I choose, he'll never see it coming. Sarah calls. "Confirmation, Miss Blackwood. The package for Mia's boutique was delivered. Signed for by her assistant. The package contains carefully fabricated evidence. Evidence of Mia selling counterfeit designer handbags in her oh-so-exclusive boutique. An anonymous tip to her suppliers, her genuine designer suppliers, is scheduled to go out tomorrow. Exactly 1 day before the gala, they thought I wouldn't be attending. The city lights twinkle below, a silent, knowing audience. I finish scheduling these precisely timed detonations. Each one set to explode. Each one designed to cause maximum chaos. And no one, not a single one of them, will ever be able to trace it back to me. Caroline Blackwood, the ghost. The invisible woman. The silent avenger. The news breaks with exquisite timing, 2 hours before the Whitmore Gala is scheduled to begin. Ashton Hall, the venerable venue, has been abruptly closed. Structural concerns, the official statement reads. A blatant lie, of course, but an effective one. The Whitmore Foundation is scrambling. Phones are ringing off the hook. Olivia, I imagine, is having a complete and utter meltdown. Her carefully constructed social triumph is crumbling around her. I'm parked across the street from Ashton Hall in my unassuming black sedan, watching. Guests in their finery, tuxedos, ball gowns, glittering jewels are arriving. Confusion etched on their faces. They check their phones. They cluster in anxious little groups. Valets, looking flustered and apologetic, are trying to explain the situation. It's a beautiful symphony of chaos. Mia, predictably, is a no-show. Sarah forwards me a frantic text she received from a mutual acquaintance. Mia's in crisis mode. Something about her suppliers. Authenticity issues. She's freaking out. Good. Let her freak out. Let her get a taste of the panic she so casually inflicted on me. My phone rings, an unknown number. No, wait, it's my father. His voice is strained, tight. Caroline, are you anywhere near Ashton Hall? He sounds almost desperate. There's been a situation with the venue. I was wondering, you always had a knack for fixing impossible situations, Caroline. A knack for fixing things. Interesting choice of words. Father, I say, my voice laced with measured sympathy. How dreadful, but I'm afraid I can't help. I'm actually on my way to the airport. International flight. Urgent business. A complete fabrication, of course. I have no intention of leaving the city. But it ensures I remain untouchable. Above suspicion. While the little world they built, the world they tried so hard to exclude me from, burns. I hang up, a small, satisfied smile playing on my lips. The first cycle is complete, and it's only the beginning. The invitation arrives on thick, creamy cardstock, embossed gold leaf edges. Olivia's wedding shower. It trembles in my hand, not from hurt this time, but from a cold, sharp thrill of anticipation. The morning light streaming through my office windows catches the gilded script. Of course, the actual wedding invitation itself is still conspicuously absent. Another calculated slight. Another reminder of my designated place on the periphery of her perfect life. They really aren't very original, are they? Later that day, a stroke of beautifully ironic luck. I'm at our family lawyer's office signing some routine paperwork for one of my legitimate businesses. As I'm leaving, I pass the ladies' room and I hear them, Olivia and Mia, giggling like schoolgirls sharing a juicy secret. And we'll put Caroline at their jacked table for the rehearsal dinner, Olivia is saying, her voice dripping with malicious glee. With great Aunt Mildred and those weird cousins from out of state. It'll be hilarious. Mia chimes in, her laughter equally venomous. Perfect! She'll probably try to make a scene. You know how dramatic she can be. I freeze, my hand on the cool marble of the sink counter just outside the door. The familiar hollow ache in my chest, the one that once drove me to the brink of self-destruction, is still there. But now it's different. It's not a void of despair anymore. It's a wellspring of cold, methodical fury. It fuels me. I don't let them know I heard. I just turn silently and walk away. They are completely unaware that I've already RSVP'd regrets to the shower. Their little seating chart humiliations will have to wait, or perhaps never happen at all. I send Olivia another gift. For the shower, I'm not attending. Something even more expensive this time. A ludicrously priced set of antique lace linens. The note is a masterpiece of insincere regret. So terribly sorry to miss your special day, Olivia. Urgent business calls me away. Thinking of you and sending all my love. Caroline. Let her think I'm still trying, still desperate for her approval. It makes what's coming so much sweeter. A few days later, there's a family dinner. One of those command performances my father occasionally insists upon for the sake of appearances. Olivia naturally dominates the conversation. Wedding details, guest lists, flower arrangements, dress fittings. She talks at us, not to us. I listen attentively, nodding, feigning interest. When I try to ask a specific question about the ceremony itself, she deliberately, pointedly skips over it, turning to my father to discuss the wine selection. The snub is so blatant, it's almost comical. James's mother, a woman I once thought of as a future mother-in-law, catches my eye across the table. She looks uncomfortable. We're so looking forward to seeing you at the wedding, Caroline, dear, she says, her voice a little too loud in a sudden lull in the conversation. I offer her a gracious smile. That's very kind of you, Mrs. Allenby. Then, I smoothly change the subject, asking about her prize-winning roses. I refuse to acknowledge the humiliation they so clearly expect me to feel. Let them wonder, let them squirm. I even run into Mia at that little boutique on Lexington, the one that's about to have some serious supplier issues. She's trying on a dress, something bright and garish that does nothing for her. Caroline, you look fabulous, she gushes. Her smile is fake as the genuine leather on some of her handbags. I compliment her dress, tell her it's stunning. We agree to have coffee. Soon. A promise we both know is as empty as her claims of friendship. The little bell on the boutique door chimes softly as another unsuspecting customer walks in. Tick-tock, Mia, tick-tock. The city is asleep. Or at least the parts of it that aren't me. My penthouse is silent, save for the soft hum of the servers in my office and the distant siren song of the streets below. Tonight, the real work begins. The luxury resort in the Maldives. The one Olivia has been bragging about for months. Their honeymoon destination. I finalize the purchase. Hidden beneath layers of corporate entities, shell companies, and offshore accounts. It's mine. They just don't know it yet. Next, James. His architectural firm is already teetering on the brink, thanks to my previous manipulations of his debt. Now, for the nudge that sends it over the edge. I arrange for an anonymous package to be delivered to his largest client. Tomorrow, the day before the wedding, nothing illegal, of course, just questionable. Evidence of certain financial improprieties. Dubious invoices, slightly inflated project costs. Enough to warrant a full-scale audit. Enough to freeze all current projects. Enough to throw his entire firm into chaos at the most inconvenient possible time. The exclusive country club, the venue for their now downsized wedding reception, through a series of carefully placed, very generous, and entirely anonymous donations to their building improvement fund. I've secured a position on their board. The vote was last week, unanimous. My assistant, Sarah, posing as my representative, cast the deciding vote. As a board member, I now have the authority to review and approve or disapprove all upcoming events. The leather of the chairman's seat in their stuffy boardroom felt surprisingly cool and comfortable beneath me during the orientation meeting. Olivia's wedding plans are about to hit a rather significant snag. And finally, my father. He thinks he's so clever with his offshore accounts and his carefully hidden tax shelters. Information is power, and I have a great deal of information. I forward the relevant files, again anonymously, to his biggest competitor. Not enough to destroy him, not yet, but enough to cause a significant distraction. Enough to tie up his lawyers and accountants for weeks. Enough to ensure that his mind is very much elsewhere during what should be his proudest father of the bride moments. The champagne in my crystal flute catches the lamplight, each action precisely timed. Each move designed to create maximum inconvenience, maximum stress, maximum chaos. Without a single fingerprint leading back to me, they built their perfect little world on a foundation of my pain. It's time to test the structural integrity of their happiness. Olivia calls. 3 days before the wedding. She's in tears. Actual hysterical snot and mascara running down her face tears. Caroline, you won't believe what's happened, she wails into the phone. Oh, I think I will, Olivia. I think I will. The country club, they called, she sobs. They said there's a scheduling conflict, a major unforeseen logistical issue. They have to downsize my reception by half. Can you believe it? Half, Caroline. My wedding, ruined. I make sympathetic noises. Oh, Olivia, that's terrible. How could they do that to you at the last minute? I keep my voice calm, soothing. The picture of concerned, sisterly support. She goes on, her voice thick with self-pity. And James, he's a wreck. His biggest client just pulled out. They're talking about audits, investigations. His firm might go under. He's been on the phone all day shouting at people. He can't even focus on the wedding. That's awful, I murmur. Is there anything I can do? Knowing full well she doesn't want my help. She just wants to vent, to wallow, to make sure I understand the full extent of her suffering. News travels fast in our little social circle. Later that day, I hear it through the grapevine. Their honeymoon. The super exclusive, incredibly expensive resort in the Maldives suddenly closed for urgent and unforeseen renovations. Their hefty deposit, mysteriously non-refundable, despite the resort being the one to cancel. Such a shame. Then my father appears at my door, unannounced. He looks haggard, older. He smells faintly of whiskey and desperation. "Caroline," he says, his voice rough. Are you somehow behind all this? This, this mess with my business? With Olivia's wedding?" He's actually looking at me, really looking at me. And for the first time, I see something in his eyes that wasn't there before. Something that might, just might, be a flicker of respect? Or perhaps just fear. Either way, it's a start. I feign innocence, of course. "Father, whatever are you talking about?" The frantic texts from Mia start flooding in later that evening. "OMG, Caroline, you will not believe this. Olivia is a mess. Everything is falling apart. Can you use your business connections, to help? Plus, it's a disaster. Call me." Multiple question marks, multiple exclamation points. The desperation is practically dripping from the screen. I read her texts. I watch my father's retreating back. I listen to the echo of Olivia's sobs, and I smile. The second cycle is nearing completion, and it's even more satisfying than the first. The rain is relentless. It pounds against the stained glass windows of the church, a percussive accompaniment to the organ's mournful dirge. Or perhaps that's just my interpretation. Olivia's wedding day, and it's a washout, literally and figuratively. Thanks to the unforeseen complications at the country club, the guest list has been slashed in half. The church looks sparse, echoey, not quite the society event of the year Olivia had envisioned. I'm sitting in the back row, elegantly understated in a navy silk dress. A quiet observer, watching. My sister, the radiant bride, is visibly trembling as she walks down the aisle. Her smile is tight, forced. James, her dashing groom, keeps glancing at his phone, his jaw clenched. Updates from his panicking office, no doubt. His architectural firm is, by all accounts, imploding. The reception, hastily relocated to our father's cavernous, impersonal house, is even more depressing. It feels tense, thrown together. Understaffed because the original caterers and florists couldn't or wouldn't accommodate the last-minute changes and downsized budget. Guests are murmuring, whispering, about the changes, the cancellations, the general air of misfortune that seems to be clinging to this blessed union. Mia, looking stressed and slightly frantic, despite her best efforts at festive glamour, corners me by the makeshift bar. The good champagne, I notice, has been replaced with something decidedly mid-range. Her voice is low, urgent. "Caroline," she hisses, "Olivia and James are devastated about the honeymoon, completely. Family should help family. Maybe you could loan them the money for a new one?" I raise an eyebrow. "Loan them money, Mia? Whatever for?" I ask, my voice all innocence. She doesn't know, of course, none of them do, that the reason they need a new honeymoon is sitting right in front of her, sipping her inferior champagne. My father delivers his toast. It's stiff, perfunctory. His mind is clearly elsewhere. News of his competitor's sudden, aggressive market advantage has been spreading like wildfire through the business circles. His eyes, when they are not staring blankly into the middle distance, keep darting towards me. That nascent suspicion I saw a few days ago? It's growing, taking root. Good. 2 weeks after the muted wedding, things start to change. Subtly at first, then with increasing, bewildering speed. A mysterious business entity, let's call them Phoenix Capital, makes an unexpected offer to James's struggling firm. An investment opportunity, a lifeline. Enough to stabilize the company, rehire staff, even bid on new lucrative projects. James is stunned, relieved, and utterly clueless as to his savior's identity. Olivia receives an official-looking notification. Her canceled honeymoon? It's been reinstated. Not at the original resort, no. At an even more exclusive, even more expensive private island villa nearby. All expenses paid, an anonymous wedding gift. She's ecstatic and completely baffled. Mia's boutique, the one that was on the verge of collapse after her little counterfeit scandal. and the subsequent supplier exodus. Her landlord, the new faceless corporation that bought the building, suddenly offers her a 5-year lease extension at significantly below market rates. All she has to do is direct her heartfelt gratitude to an unnamed benefactor. She's overjoyed and deeply, deeply suspicious. And my father, his main competitor, the one who was poised to eat his company alive? They inexplicably back off, reach an unusually favorable agreement, a truce. He's confused, relieved. He even mentions it at Sunday dinner, a rare moment of familial sharing. Can't for the life of me figure it out, he muses, shaking his head. Almost seems like divine intervention. Then they all receive them. Separately, elegant black envelopes, thick cardstock, silver calligraphy, invitations. To an exclusive invitation-only gala at the Grand Meridian Hotel. The property they know was recently sold. The property they know has been undergoing extensive top-secret renovations. But they don't yet know by whom. The invitations are from Phoenix Enterprises. I stand in the center of the renovated Grand Meridian Ballroom. It's breathtaking, unrecognizable. Millions of dollars meticulously spent. New crystal chandeliers, even bigger, even more dazzling than the old ones, are being hung by a small army of workmen. Rare, exotic flowers, flown in from God knows where, are being arranged into towering, fragrant sculptures. Champagne towers, already constructed, gleam under the newly installed spotlights. The air smells of fresh paint, expensive polish, and the intoxicating aroma of victory. My assistant, Sarah, calm and efficient as ever, reviews the final guest list with me. It's a carefully curated collection. Everyone who matters in our world, business titans, society mavens, old money, new money, and, of course, the special guests of honor. Olivia, James, Mia, my father. Each seat assignment has been strategically planned, calculated for maximum impact. The hotel manager, a nervous man named Mr. Henderson, who is still visibly adjusting to my rather hands-on ownership style, presents the evening's timeline for my approval. He keeps calling me Miss Blackwood, with a mixture of terror and awe. It's quite amusing. I run my fingers over the special place cards. Olivia, James, Mia, father. Printed on the same elegant black cardstock as the invitations. Marked with a small, embossed logo. A stylized phoenix rising from flames. The symbol I've adopted since my rebirth. Their table, of course, is the most prominent one in the room, front and center, where everyone can see them, where they can see everything. The transformed Grand Meridian Ballroom is buzzing. Guests dressed in their most opulent attire wander through the glittering space, their voices a low hum of admiration and speculation. Who is this Phoenix Enterprises? Have you seen the champagne towers? They say no expense was spared. Whispers follow them like perfume. I watch from a private suite overlooking the ballroom, hidden behind one-way glass. A flute of vintage champagne. The good stuff, this time. Cool in my hand. Olivia and James arrive, arm in arm. Olivia is wearing a new dress, something expensive and glittering. Trying too hard. Their expressions shift. From curiosity to excitement, to a dawning, unmistakable unease, as the maitre d' leads them to their assigned table, the one with the Phoenix place cards. Mia circulates nervously. Her recent good fortune, the saved boutique, the renewed lease, has given her a thin veneer of confidence, but her eyes dart around the room with a hunted look. She's suspicious. She knows something is off. Her laughter when she greets influential attendees is a little too bright, a little too brittle. My father stands apart from the crowd, near the bar, observing. His decades of business dealings, his ruthless negotiations, have honed his observational skills. He's not looking at the chandeliers or the flowers or the other guests. He's looking at the details, the Phoenix logos subtly incorporated into the decor. On the cocktail napkins, the ice sculptures, the lapel pins of the impeccably dressed staff. His eyes narrow, he's putting the pieces together. Slowly, but surely. The lights in the ballroom dim. A hush falls over the crowd. Spotlights converge on the grand staircase. The one I stood before a lifetime ago, feeling broken and invisible. Tonight, I will descend that staircase, and I will be anything but invisible. The air crackles with anticipation. They're all waiting, waiting for the mysterious host, the enigmatic benefactor, the new power player in their midst, to be revealed. They have no idea. I take a deep breath, and then I step out onto the landing. I descend the grand staircase. Slowly, deliberately, each step measured. My gown is the exact shade of blood, a stark, dramatic contrast to the glittering gold and crystal of the ballroom. The room falls silent, utterly silent. I can feel hundreds of eyes on me, and then a ripple, a murmur, recognition dawning on face after face. Caroline Blackwood, the girl they dismissed, the woman they tried to destroy, standing before them, transformed, commanding absolute, unwavering attention. A microphone is discreetly handed to me at the foot of the stairs. My voice, amplified, carries to every corner of the vast room, calm, clear, resolute. "Good evening," I say, my eyes sweeping across the stunned faces. "And welcome. Welcome to my hotel." I let that sink in. I watch the color drain from 4 specific faces: Olivia, James, Mia, my father. Their expressions are a mixture of shock, disbelief, and a dawning, horrified comprehension. "I trust you all received your invitations from Phoenix Enterprises," I continue, a small, knowing smile playing on my lips. "Allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Phoenix Enterprises." A collective gasp ripples through the room. "It's been a busy few months," I say, my gaze locking onto Olivia and James. Champagne sloshes from Olivia's glass, staining her expensive designer dress. Her hand is trembling. Acquiring the Grand Meridian was just the beginning. I also found myself with a majority stake in a certain architectural firm. James goes pale. And the charming little country club where some of you recently celebrated a rather downsized wedding. And, of course, that lovely resort in the Maldives where you weren't quite able to honeymoon. I turn my attention to my father. His posture is rigid, his face a mask of disbelief. "Father," I say, my voice softening almost imperceptibly, "I must thank you for the invaluable business education you never knew you were providing. Your techniques were most instructive when it came to anonymously purchasing certain competitive leverages." His jaw tightens. He understands. Oh, he understands perfectly. And finally, Mia. Her false smile is frozen on her face. Her eyes are wide with a mixture of fear and dawning realization. "And Mia, darling," I say, my voice dripping with false sweetness. "So glad you could make it. Phoenix Enterprises is launching a new authentication program for luxury retailers. A very rigorous one. Your little boutique will, of course, be undergoing particular scrutiny. Given certain concerning reports about product origins." The silence in the ballroom is absolute, deafening. I raise my champagne flute. "So, please," I say, my smile widening, "enjoy the evening. Enjoy my hospitality. After all, you've all earned it." The power shift is complete, and it is exquisite. Later, after the initial shockwaves of my announcements have somewhat subsided, after the forced congratulations and whispered speculations have reached a fever pitch, Olivia finds me. She corners me on the hotel's moonlit terrace, away from the lingering party guests. The city lights spread out below us like a carpet of fallen stars, a breathtaking backdrop for her impending melodrama. Tears are streaming down her face, smearing her carefully applied mascara into black rivulets. Her designer dress, already stained with champagne, now looks rumpled and pathetic. She grips my wrist, her fingers trembling, surprisingly strong. "Caroline!" she chokes out, her voice thick with emotion or a very good imitation of it. I never meant to hurt you. You have to believe me." The words are so familiar. I've heard them before, in my previous life. Usually right before another betrayal, another knife twisted in my back. She oscillates between apologies and justifications, a torrent of words pouring out of her. She felt overshadowed. She was jealous of my successes, my effortless grace, her words, not mine, and laughable given the circumstances. She thought I was stronger than her, that I could handle anything. that my pain didn't count as much as hers. Her voice catches, a theatrical sob escaping her lips. Remember when we were little, Caroline? Sharing secrets? Sharing clothes? We could be those sisters again. I know we could. If you would just let the past go. I look at her. Really look at her. The desperate hope in her eyes, the calculated vulnerability, the practiced tears. And I remember. I remember her identical performance in my previous life, the one that lulled me into a false sense of security, the one that preceded my most complete and utter isolation. This time, I don't fall for it. No, I reply. My voice is soft, almost gentle, but unwavering, as firm and unyielding as the cool marble beneath our feet. I gently, deliberately remove her hand from my wrist. Her fingers fall away, limp and defeated. I turn away from her heaving shoulders, from the manufactured despair in her eyes. I walk back towards the light and laughter of the party, leaving her alone in the shadows with her crocodile tears and her shattered illusions. Some things, once broken, can never truly be mended, and our sisterhood is one of them. The following day, James requests a meeting, a private business meeting. He arrives at my office in my hotel, looking predictably polished and earnest. He's carrying a sleek leather briefcase from which he produces a series of charts and projections. Sunlight streams through the expansive windows, highlighting the new silver threads appearing at his temples. He leans forward in his chair, his voice a low, persuasive murmur, explaining how we could mutually benefit from a strategic partnership. How my investment in his firm could be leveraged for even greater success if we work together, as equals. He even has the audacity to claim he's always respected my intelligence, my business acumen. I made a terrible mistake, Caroline, he confesses, his eyes filled with practiced vulnerability. That same look he used to reel me in all those years ago. Choosing Olivia, it was a mistake. His cologne, that same familiar scent that once made my heart ache, now just makes me feel tired. Our connection, he continues, his voice dropping to an intimate whisper. It was always the stronger one. You know that, don't you? His hand, tanned and manicured, reaches across the polished expanse of my mahogany desk. Reaches for mine. I withdraw my hand smoothly, using it to pick up my crystal water glass. The ice clinks softly against the rim in the sudden charged silence. No, thank you, James, I say, my voice cool, professional. I prefer our current arrangement. The carefully constructed composure in his handsome face cracks. Just for a moment, but I see it. Genuine shock. Disbelief. He's never been refused before. Not when he deploys his full charm offensive. Not by a woman he thought he still had some hold over. He recovers quickly, of course, but the damage is done. He knows now. He knows he has no power here, no leverage, no second chances. The game is over, and he lost. Mia doesn't bother with an appointment. She just shows up, uninvited, at my penthouse. The doorman, flustered but unable to stop her determined advance, calls up to warn me, but it's too late. She's already at my door, a vision of tear-stained desperation. The moment I open it, she collapses, literally collapses, into a heap of racking sobs in my pristine white marble foyer. Caroline! Oh, Caroline! I've been such a terrible friend, she wails, clutching at my ankles like a supplicant. But I was only insecure, so insecure around you. You had everything. You were everything, and I was nothing. Rain streaks down the floor-to-ceiling windows, mirroring the mascara tracks on her face. She kneels there, a pathetic, sodden mess, clinging to my hands, which I make no effort to withdraw. Let her grovel. She recounts moments from our 30-year friendship, childhood sleepovers, teenage heartbreaks, shared triumphs, and silly secrets, presenting them as evidence. Proof that our history, our bond, should outweigh her more recent, more spectacular betrayals. The scent of her signature gardenia perfume, now mixed with the cloying aroma of cheap hairspray and desperation, fills the air. My housekeeper, bless her stoic heart, silently appears with a tray, offering tea and tissues, her face a mask of polite neutrality. Mia babbles on, promising to make amends, to be the friend she should have been. She'll publicly acknowledge her wrongdoing. She'll defend me against any lingering rumors. Rumors she started, of course. She'll stand by me, the way you always stood by me, she cries, conveniently forgetting all the times she was conspicuously absent during my own divorces, my own career failures, my own darkest hours. I let her cry herself out. Then I help her to her feet, gently. I hand her a tissue. I look her directly in the eye, my expression calm, unreadable. No, Mia, I say, my voice perfectly composed, devoid of any discernible emotion. I don't think that will be necessary. The realization dawns in her tear-filled eyes. The slow, agonizing understanding that some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. That some betrayals cut too deep to ever truly forgive. Or forget. She leaves as she arrived, a broken, sobbing mess. But this time, her tears are for herself, for the friendship she destroyed, for the consequences she can no longer escape. My father, true to form, doesn't stoop to tears or emotional appeals. He requests my presence for dinner, at his club, his territory, a power play, subtle but unmistakable. The dining room is hushed, exclusive. Crystal glasses and sterling silver tableware glint under the subtle, expensive lighting. Between courses of meticulously prepared, ridiculously overpriced food, he finally broaches the subject. Not with an apology, of course, that would be too much to expect. Instead, he acknowledges, with a grudging sort of respect, that I've become quite the businesswoman. He even offers what he clearly considers to be a compliment, that I remind him of himself. Ruthless when necessary, but ultimately practical. He then proposes it. The reason for this carefully orchestrated dinner. A merger. A joining of our business interests. Blackwood Holdings and Phoenix Enterprises. United. Invincible. We could put aside familial disappointments. For mutual benefit, he suggests, his voice smooth, reasonable. Never actually saying the words, never actually admitting he was wrong. Never apologizing for believing the worst of me, for abandoning me when I needed him most. His signet ring, the heavy gold one he always wears, taps impatiently against his whiskey glass as he awaits my answer. He's confident. He's a negotiator. He's rarely been denied anything he truly wants. I take a slow sip of my wine. I meet his gaze, and I smile. A small, almost imperceptible smile. No, father, I reply, my voice quiet but firm. I place my napkin on the table and stand to leave. I don't think so. He looks stunned, genuinely stunned. This was not the outcome he anticipated. I learned a valuable lesson from watching you operate all these years, I add, pausing at the edge of the table. Family and business should remain separate, especially when the family bonds were illusory to begin with. I walk away, leaving him sitting there alone at his power table, amidst the clinking crystal and the hushed whispers of the other diners. The taste of victory this time is even sweeter than the expensive dessert I didn't bother to order 1 year later. I'm walking barefoot along a private beach. The sand is warm, fine, yielding softly beneath my feet. The sun is setting, painting the sky in fiery shades of orange, pink, and purple. My island property, a sprawling, secluded villa nestled amidst lush tropical greenery, stretches out behind me. I bought it not for status, not to impress anyone, but for the perfect, untainted solitude it offers. A gentle tropical breeze, carrying the sweet scent of plumeria and the clean, sharp tang of salt, rustles the palm fronds overhead. I breathe deeply, filling my lungs with the clean air, a stark contrast to the suffocating social obligations and toxic atmospheres that once defined my existence, in both lives. My phone rests on the bedside table in my beach house, silenced. No desperate calls from family members needing financial rescue, no manipulative messages attempting to reignite connections I've long since severed. No demands on my time, my energy, my resources, just peace. The horizon burns brighter for a moment, then softens as the sun finally dips below the shimmering turquoise ocean. It's a daily spectacle, this glorious, silent farewell. One I never tire of watching, now that I've finally learned the profound difference between loneliness and peaceful solitude. I sink into a cushioned lounge chair on the sand, a cool drink sweating beside me. My notebook lies open on my lap, its crisp, fresh pages waiting. I'm drafting plans for a foundation, one that will support those rebuilding their lives after betrayal. After devastation, my experience, my pain, transformed into purpose, into hope for others. My office, back in the city, is a sleek, minimalist space high in a glittering skyscraper. It overlooks the sprawling metropolis where I once felt so small, so invisible. Now it's my command center, the heart of my expanding, entirely legitimate, and incredibly successful enterprises. The quarterly reports for the Grand Meridian Hotel are, as usual, glowing. Under my ownership, my management, it has become the destination for exclusivity, for luxury, for discreet power gatherings. It's constantly booked, often by the very same people who once snubbed me, who whispered about my downfall. The irony is not lost on me, and it is delicious. Sarah, my ever-loyal, hyper-efficient assistant, now a senior executive in Phoenix Enterprises, brings me the latest news. James's architectural firm, still under my ownership but with new, competent management, has just won a prestigious international design contract, a massive project, a game-changer for them. I allowed it, sanctioned it, because excellence in any of my ventures benefits my overall portfolio. And because perhaps there's a certain satisfaction in proving that even his tarnished legacy can be polished to a shine under the right ownership. Sunlight gleams on the awards lining the shelves in my office. Not social accolades this time. These are for business innovation, for ethical leadership, for philanthropy. Recognition that arrived, not when I was desperately seeking validation from those who could never truly provide it, but when I stopped caring what they thought altogether. When I started building something for myself, by myself. The boardroom beyond my office door is filled with a diverse group of executives. People I've personally selected, people valued not for their social connections, their old boy networks, or their ability to play the game, but for their integrity, their talent, their vision. Together, we are building an empire, a clean one, a powerful one, an ethical one. Tonight, I'm hosting an intimate dinner party in my penthouse. Not for business, not for show, but for friends, real friends. The kind I've made since my rebirth. Relationships built not on shared history, not on obligation or convenience, but on mutual respect, genuine affection, and a shared understanding of what truly matters. Laughter echoes against the panoramic windows, the glittering nighttime skyline providing a dazzling backdrop. We share stories. We debate ideas. We support each other's dreams. The conversation flows easily without the undercurrent of competition, of subtle sabotage, of hidden agendas that I once thought was normal, that I once accepted as the price of admission to their toxic world. My private chef, a culinary genius I lured away from a Michelin-starred restaurant in Paris, serves dessert, a light, exquisite confection of fruit and air. Someone proposes a toast. To found family, she says, her eyes shining. The connections we choose, the ones that nourish us, the ones that make us better. We all raise our glasses. A moment of quiet reflection, a shared understanding of how completely, how wonderfully my social world has transformed. After my guests depart, I linger on my terrace with a final glass of wine. The city lights twinkle below, a silent, knowing audience. I feel a pleasant emotional fatigue, the kind that comes from genuine connection, from authentic sharing, not from the exhausting vigilance of constant self-protection. My phone, which I've allowed back into my presence now that the party is over, shows a notification, a message, from the young woman I've been mentoring, guiding her through her own reinvention after a devastating betrayal. She's thriving. She's found her strength. Her gratitude, her success, is a quiet, powerful reminder that my painful past, my hard-won wisdom, now serves a purpose beyond myself. It's the anniversary of my rebirth. The day I woke up, gasping, in a hospital bed, 10 years in my past, with a second chance I never asked for but was determined not to waste. I find myself back at the Grand Meridian, in the suite where my previous life ended. It's been renovated, of course, beyond recognition. It's now the hotel's premier accommodation. The Phoenix Suite, they call it. A coincidence, Mr. Henderson assured me. I almost believe him. My fingers trace the exquisite, handcrafted wallpaper. Birds in flight, soaring, free. It covers the exact spot on the wall where I once slumped in despair, a handful of pills clutched in my trembling hand, the darkness closing in. The transformation is symbolic, poetic, obvious only to me. Through the expansive windows, I watch the city below. It continues its eternal rhythm. People rushing, connecting, loving, hating, building dreams, destroying lives. My perspective now is different, elevated, literally and figuratively. A notification pings on my phone. Sarah, keeping me updated as always. Olivia has given birth to her first child, a boy. Mia's boutique, after a brief, ill-fated attempt at rebranding, has finally closed its doors for good. My father is retiring, early, due to health concerns. I read the information, facts, just facts. They register, but they don't engulf me. They don't trigger the maelstrom of emotion they once would have. They are distant echoes from a world I no longer inhabit. I turn away from the windows. I survey the Phoenix Suite one final time. The opulent furnishings, the breathtaking views, the silent testament to a life reclaimed, a life rebuilt. I mentally compare the desperate, broken woman I was, the one who sought oblivion in this very room, with the calm, content, powerful woman I have become. And I understand, finally, with a clarity that is both profound and peaceful. My rebirth's greatest gift wasn't the chance for revenge. It wasn't the power, or the wealth, or the ability to turn the tables on those who wronged me. It was the opportunity, the precious, terrifying, exhilarating opportunity to build a life measured by my own standards, to define my own happiness, to find my own peace. And I have.